Now, I'm not saying the way that I was doing photography is the wrong way of doing photography, but it was the wrong way for me. Alright, so welcome to the van, everybody. It's been a while since we've been out in the van. Now, what I'm referring to with regards to the title of this video, and, you know, basically that I've been doing photography wrong, or was doing photography wrong, is it very much refers to last week's video, which is me moaning about turning 40, injuring my knee, going on a 3-day hiking trip through the Alps, and taking one photograph. Now, if you haven't seen last week's video, I'll link to it below, but essentially I was trekking in the Alps for 3 days, beautiful, beautiful landscape all around me, had all my camera gear, and in 3 days I only came away with one photograph. And that's because my head was not in the right place. I was in a lot of pain, I was incredibly fatigued and unfit, which is something I'm currently working on. And what that meant was my mind wasn't open to photography. I just didn't have the excitement, the enthusiasm, or the energy. And I thought, you know, is this it now? Am I done with photography? Now, what's interesting, and quite frankly a relief, is that I'm out in my local patch of Northumberland, just on the coast. The weather's not particularly exciting. It's windy, the sun's kind of dipping in and out. There's no real dramatic skies or anything like that. However, just because I'm being intentional, I'm coming out with my camera gear, with photography being the sole purpose for being out, I'm excited because I know that I can just meander and contemplate, and I have nowhere else to be and nothing else to do. And if I don't get a photograph, I'm not going to beat myself up about it, but I think I will, just because of the way I'm feeling and how, compared to last week's video, I am so much more excited about getting the camera out and exploring and finding images. It may not be in the Alpine mountains, but that's okay, because honestly, it's nothing to do with the environment to an extent. It's up here, it's the photographer. This is what I was talking about. I think if you're in the right frame of mind, then you can just see images about anywhere, in any conditions. Like in the Alps, you know, Europe's most beautiful mountains, arguably, couldn't see a thing. Come to a nice quiet beach in Northumberland, and I'm getting excited. All right, I have got my frame set up, and it's quite an interesting one, this, because there's not actually a subject. In fact, if anything, there are elements in my photograph that I don't like. Like, we have these black seaweed, slippery rocks in the midground, and I hate that. I hate messy seaweed-covered rocks, I just do. However, when you stop looking at those seaweed-covered rocks as seaweed-covered rocks and start seeing them as shapes and compositional elements within the frame, you can have a lot of fun. So we've set the camera to black and white. I'm grabbing my filters, and I'll talk a bit more through my composition and what I'm thinking. And I reckon actually we've got quite a nice shot here. All right, the first thing I want to do is check to see if it's worth popping a polarizing filter on. Let's have a look. Yes, absolutely, it's worth popping a polarizer on, because we've got a blue sky day with these scattered clouds that are blowing past, and the polarizer makes that blue sky pop, so you get immediate contrast between the blue sky and the white clouds. Without it, it's a bit washed out. To dial it in, contrast especially seems to be emphasized with the black and white that I've converted my camera to. Now, the next filter that I'm going to pop on is a 10-stop filter, because those scattered clouds and this wind, they're moving through the sky, and this is going to capture all of that motion. Nice black and white, long exposure, bit of abstract with the composition I've chosen. And yeah, quite excited about this. You know, middle of the day, sunny. We're not in the Alps, but I'm having photographically speaking anyway, having a way better time. Alright, so we have walked all of 30 yards from my last shot and we found an even better composition. That was my first one. I was just warming up on that one. This one, oh, it's fantastic. We have this beautiful S-curve. Again, another outlet's running out to the ocean. And then we have this rock, which is just on the shoreline. Now the tide is coming in very fast, hence why I've got my bag on my back, because when it comes in, it's just gonna swamp this beach. And you know, in the blink of an eye, my bag could get absolutely soaked. But as soon as the tide takes this rock, which it's about doing, then this scene is gone. It's kind of almost, the rock, although incredibly small in the frame, is actually quite significant. We're going for a really long 3 to 4 minute exposure with 13 stops plus a polarizer, so we're really stacking our images. And you'll notice we've got the 14 to 30 on them, around about 15 mil. You couldn't get away with stacking filters, these ones anyway, on a 15 mil, you're gonna get vignetting, but I'm shooting a square, so we're actually losing the edges of the frame, so you don't get any vignetting. It's great. And also when you polarize a wide shot, just be very careful. Make sure you keep an eye on that polarization, just so you don't get any dark patches in the sky. It's a common problem. Again, black and white, high contrast. We're still in mid-afternoon. Yeah, it's fantastic. Right, tide's coming in. We go back to the van for a cup of tea, and then I think we'll wait until sunset and see how things change. Oh, dying for a cup of tea. I don't believe it. It's raining. That wasn't in the forecast. Oh, good job I came in when I did. All right. So I just want to take this opportunity whilst I enjoy a cup of tea in the now rainy weather to thank the sponsor of this video, which is Squarespace. So for those of you who don't know who Squarespace are, they're an all-in-one website building platform where you can log on and you can build your own website using their simple drag and drop system. So basically, if you want your own website as a photographer, but you don't know where to begin coding and programming and all that stuff, or even hiring an expensive web design company, well, stress no more. Just go to squarespace.com/Heaton and you'll get a free trial. And with that free trial, you'll see that you can use all of their beautiful templates for a simple drag and drop system. You can register your own domain. You can have your website doing everything that modern day websites do. Everything you would expect of a website, from your simple online galleries to an online store, or even create your own members area. So as I said, go to squarespace.com/Heaton and you'll get a free trial. And if you like that free trial, use the offer code Heaton for 10% off your first purchase. So thankfully the rain has stopped, just a brief shower, but this is really confusing because the reason I came out quite early on in the afternoon and shot those black and white images was because the weather forecast was set for kind of scattered clouds, which we got. And then it was supposed to all blow away and just be blue, blue, blue skies. Look around, man, and it's just thick of cloud. However, kind of on topic is expectations. You need to manage your expectations. You just get what you're given and lean into it. If I'm here for photography, which I am and nothing else, then it doesn't matter. I've got a high tide now. It was low tide before. I've got overcast skies, whereas we had sunshine before. So actually, I should be quite grateful that I'm getting such varied conditions. So yeah, we'll finish this tea and then we'll head out for the last couple of hours of light and see what we see. It'd be nice to get 2 more images, actually. Yeah, we'll see. I have absolutely no idea what this is. My best guess, some sort of refuge for seabirds at high tide. Either way, it definitely caught my attention. And yeah, gonna try and photograph it. It's chaos, man. Chaos. So I'm really keen to shoot this before it changes too much. You can see the contrast between the dry sand and the wet sand. So that's the high tide mark just there. And now the tide's retreating. But the skies are amazing. Skies are incredible everywhere, except this direction, the direction I'm shooting. They are changing fast, but now it's raining. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wait and I'm gonna observe this area. I want a good sky this way. It would help if the rain stopped. But most importantly, I'm gonna kind of hope that we don't lose this contrast with the high tide mark. We don't want the wet sand starting to dry off because, well, that would be no good at all. Oh, I can't believe it's rain though. This weather simply was not forecast. I guess that's always fun. Well, the amount of times I've been out and we've not got what was expected, and I think that honestly is half the fun. So yeah, I don't know. This is great though. This is good. Beautiful skies. So I think we're on for a good image. Okay, the rain has stopped. And you see this sort of highlight in the sky. Well, what that basically means is we have texture. So we've got this bright portion up here and all of the dark storm clouds, no doubt where that rain has been coming from, down on the horizon. And then this interesting foreground, slightly chaotic, but I don't know, man, I love it. I love it. I'm gonna frame this up. All right, battery is very low on this camera, so I've got to be careful. And I don't have a spare, I know, but I came out in a bit of a rush. So I'm at f11, no filters, just a straight shot. Not even changing my aspect ratio, just going for a 3x2. Fantastic. Now I feel like last week in the Alps, I'd lost my mojo. No mojo. Today, right now, I mean, flipping Nora, it's fantastic. It's definitely come back. All right, as you can see, we have some very interesting developments going on over here. I did consider staying put and continuing to shoot this composition with the light, but I can always run back to it. I want to try something different. I'm quite happy with the shot that I've got, so we're gonna go and try and shoot something a bit more minimalist and see if hopefully all of this kicks off. Yeah, yeah. It kind of went as quickly as it came. It's just fizzled out. That's a shame, although not really, because I don't think there's a composition here anyway. However, this direction behind you is where I need to focus my interest. Oh man, what a joy photography is, what an absolute joy. All right, it might not look it immediately on your camera, but this is very cool. It's where the tide has come in and come down over this sandbar, and it just looks, the shape and the textures looks phenomenal. With the sky we have behind me, I realize I am rambling. It's because I'm conscious of time. All right, we are really up against it. The rain is now starting, and unfortunately we have lost any color that we had in the sky. It just came and went so quickly. It's because of all the clouds to the west, obviously blocking the setting sun, so you get a bit of color and then it disappears so quickly as it drops behind all of the thick cloud that will be many, many miles away. But this is cool. It's not perfect. We have footprints, we have dog prints, but I think we can clone them out in Photoshop. And as always, I say as always, but what I've started doing recently is putting at the end of the video, you see the edited images again, but then you see them alongside the raw files. So you can actually see the changes I've made and how I process my images. So that'll probably be very noticeable on this image, because we're gonna have to go in and get rid of a load of dog prints and big footprints. But I was so taken by this wave pattern. Looks like a shell or a clam that's come over the sand and then it's settled. And much like the nesting island that we shot before, we have that contrast between the wet sand and the dry sand. Of course, it's raining now, so gotta do this quickly. We are using all of the lens, 14mm, super wide, emphasizing the shape of the pattern, the tidal wave pattern. And that's it. That's it, man, what a surprise. The bird nesting island was a fantastic surprise, especially when we got the sky behind it. And this, man, I was walking down the beach looking for one final image towards where all the weather is out to sea. There's not a lot on this beach, if I'm honest with you. We've got sand dunes and we've got sand, and that's about it. There's no notable features, but if you look closely, you see things. And yeah, this immediately, I was like, oh, come on. Yeah, really pleased with this. Let me know, please, in the comments what you think of all the images, the black and whites from earlier on, and these two from this evening as well. But what a brilliant day out this has been. I think just what I needed.